The following program is produced by the Tech Talk Radio Network.
And welcome to another episode of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird.
And we are the show that talks about, well, computers,
technology,
and, of course, the internet and everything encompassing all of that. Just a couple of guys talking about tech. Hopefully we'll have some tips for you, stuff we could share. We got listener questions for today. And, just the two of us today.
If you can get to us today.
Oh, yeah. Maybe you're having a problem with Amazon. People are so confused, Shawn, with this past week. Of course, in case you didn't know, there was an outage, and people were just told it was AWS, and they hear Amazon. They think Amazon is messing up with their internet. Can you kind of explain a little about why does Amazon have anything to do with the services that people use, whether it be Coinbase or Snapchat or Roblox or any of that stuff? Why that affected so many people this past week when they had an outage?
So when you connect to a website, you're pointing your computer at a name, Google, Reddit, Verge, whatever, Tech Talk Radio, whatever website you're going to. That name, your internet provider points you to what is called a DNS server, domain name registration, DNS. That then in turn says, oh, you want Reddit, which is this IP address. And it provides that for you and it connects you. Amazon, so those websites host their content in the cloud or at storage servers, on-prem solutions, but they use Amazon for resolving that DNS information.
That's a huge business portion for Amazon, isn't it?
Yeah, it's billions of dollars a year, like billions, like it's ridiculous. And so Amazon AWS East 1
that's
had an outage. And that is regionally, right? So but that was a large portion of that DNS piece. So on October 20th, 2025, AWS had a major outage centered in its U.S. East 1 region, which is in Northern Virginia. Many services that rely on that AWS portion just couldn't work anymore. The root of that problem was a DNS resolution failure. Basically, the systems knew where their data was stored, just couldn't find the street address. Basically, think of it like streets and addresses and stuff. You just couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Basically, your computer didn't know where to go to find the information, and until it was resolved, you couldn't get down the street. I mean, it was a lot of websites. It was a lot of stuff. It was Coinbase. It was Robinhood. It was banking information in the UK. It was Reddit was down. Snapchat was down. McDonald's was down. Yeah. I mean, you're trying to play Monopoly, and you can't.
Yeah.
Do not pass go for $200.
And even Amazon was affected by this.
Even Amazon, like your Ring camera, your Alexas, like, I mean, it's crazy how decentralized this has become.
Yeah, we tried to ask the Alexa something in the morning and said, I don't know what to do. Or I don't know how to do that. It was, it was there, but it didn't know how to get that information. Because, well, they were affected by that as well.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't even really notice anything. I got a couple emails from work saying some of our stuff was down. I figured it was just like a scheduled outage, but then I started seeing some more stuff because I wasn't able to get on Reddit. Reddit's down, big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any other social media, so I wasn't getting. And then finally, somebody mentioned that there was a huge Amazon outage, and then I started to pick up on a couple things and did some searching to see what was going on. But yeah, it wasn't a global outage like we had 2 or 3 years ago, regionally. So yeah. So I mean, it's a critical infrastructure. Literally everything you do on a day-to-day basis in the U.S. is tied to the internet.
Yeah,
hands down.
Even I know that Roku was down. And that's the thing, a lot of people, at least for some, a lot of people rely on that for their entertainment. And we've talked about this before, about the need to have digital media versus having physical media. That having the physical media can be, in case there ever is an outage that lasts a long time. The longest one was that one in 2021. And we talked about that. It
was like 3 days.
Yeah. And people weren't able to connect to certain things and whatnot. And that kind of reminds you, like, well, this is a good reason. If you ever had to subsist without the internet, but you have your devices, you want to use them, to have that physical media.
Yeah. It's wild, and it's weird, and it's hard to talk about this because piracy is not a big topic to talk about, but it's like it's forcing people to look at alternative ways to get media.
Yeah.
So,
well, even with your own media, in the case of like services like Plex, where you can easily use programs like DVD, I think it's Next Copy, where you could take your DVD or your Blu-ray and make a digital copy of it, store it on a device, connect it to your router, your computer, or put it on your computer, and then be able to access it. So you want to watch, Lost in America or Into the Night, or I'm talking to some of my favorite movies here, American Werewolf in London. You can easily do that without having to go find the CD or DVD and store it on your device. Just make a backup. So
yep, I have a bookshelf just off screen here that it has my DVDs on. I have a physical DVD collection. It's not as big as it used to be because I've gotten rid of some, but all of them are digitized. I spent most of COVID really doing just in rip. And if you're interested in preserving your media from physical to digital, right? MakeMKV will do Blu-rays if you have a Blu-ray burner. HandBrake will do DVDs. Those are both free programs. They're both open source, so they're both great.
It can be a little challenging to use, but once you get
it's pretty straightforward, and they both have very, very well fleshed out tutorials on how to do these things. The communities around these projects are very open to answering questions, and there's tons of tutorials on it. It's almost point and click at this point. You put the disc in, you click burn, you pick the format you want, the resolution you want. Do you want it to have all the menus? Do you want it to have all the special features? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, burn, rip. You've got a 4.5 gig file for DVDs, upwards of 18 to 20 gigs for a Blu-ray if you multi-layer. So, I mean,
some people like to get the menu systems on DVDs. Like if they're going to make a digital copy, can they do that? So it's not just the movie; they can have the interface, so they could go to the menu system and say, "I want to see behind the scenes. I want to see this." Is that possible for people to do?
No, I've never tried it that way. I've never tried to burn a DVD to emulate it as a DVD in a player. I've just always ripped the VOB files for DVDs and then compress them into an MP4. So I don't know. I know that you can still just put a DVD into your computer and play it that way too. So if you're looking for that emulation, it's very easy to do. Maybe not now, because hardly any computer you buy now comes with a CD, Blu-ray, CD, anything. I mean, you're hard pressed to get one, let alone. They make USB ones now and things like that, so it's relatively easy to get them, but they're not a common thing in PC builds anymore.
LG makes one. I know I've got a couple of them that I use, and it saved my butt recently, which I'll tell you about coming up. But it's really interesting. There's a story that I read on one of the tech blogs that optical drive demand has gone up with Windows 10 retirement. Japan was one of those. They found users switching to Windows 11 were buying up Blu-ray drives to have inside their machines. So they go ahead and whether either putting them in their machines or they're doing the externals, they wanted to have that capability to be able to watch their content on those devices. And they found that the sales went up.
I think we need to go back since I started on this show.
Mm-hmm.
And count the number of times that I've said there is going to be a analog revolution. Not necessarily an analog revolution, but a physical media revolution. There is going to be a demand back for physical media. And I think with the chaos of all of the streaming platforms and, having to have 10 subscriptions to get the content you want and, the raising of the prices, the Game Pass, the stuff like that, it's like, I just want to play my games. I just want to watch my movies. I can play all my stuff. I have the capability because I'm a little bit of a tech hoarder, right? I can play Blu-rays, I can play DVDs, I can play VHS tapes, I can play all that. But a lot of people went the way of the dodo on some of that stuff, right? It's like they said, streaming's it's the best thing. Here's all my DVDs at a yard sale for 50 cents a piece. And somebody came and bought them all up. Well, with this outage, you may have not been able to get to Netflix. HBO Max was down, so you couldn't watch your content there. Again, with the way the licensing stuff works, it's like even when you're paying for Prime or Disney Plus, they bump you up into the next tier. They raise your price. All of a sudden, you log in and you start streaming Moana for your 3-year-old, and you get served 2.5 minutes of ads.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, whoa, wait! I didn't think I was paying for. I didn't think my plan included ads on Disney Plus. And then you look and they say, oh, by the way, the price went up. You're not paying for that price, so you got shifted into an ad plan.
Yeah.
Well, what the heck? It's like
2 minutes of ads for a 4-year-old will just lose their interest completely.
That's why we pay for YouTube Premium. Our boys like to watch YouTube. There's a handful of shows. Nickelodeon has a couple things on YouTube. Blippi, a handful of those shows that are on YouTube. Trying to watch any of that content on YouTube without YouTube Premium, without the ads, with the ads, was literally a miserable experience. And getting ads, it's a nightmare. And I get it. People don't have I feel very privileged to be able to pay for a handful of subscriptions to not have ads. And I understand that. But it's a miserable experience. And
there was just a price increase too this week, in case you didn't know. And it's weird. They didn't really talk about it. I don't think they talked about it before they made the announcement, but Warner Brothers Discovery, and now, there's big talk now about there's going to be a sell or a purchase outright. Comcast is one of those that could possibly be interested in buying. But Warner Brothers Discovery, as of this past Tuesday, said the cost of your HBO Max plans going to increase. Again, another increase. If you get HBO Max Basic with ads, which will allow you to stream on 2 devices simultaneously. So if you've got a household and your kids are watching it in one, or maybe you like a show and your other half goes and wants to watch something else on that services, monthly, it goes up $1. Now, we might not think $1, but when you add Paramount Plus, when you add Discovery, if you're paying for that, when you add Netflix, the Netflix, and
it's obscene.
TikTok, it gets crazy.
It's obscene.
Or the cable.
And you just don't realize it. And it's all just gross marketing, hostile marketing. And I wish sometimes we had digital rights like the UK does in some instances, because that would shore up a lot of this stuff and get us on track to actually having user rights to some of this stuff.
I had a lot of people that would tell me, but they're getting rid of their DVDs, and they would say, well, it's okay because it's streaming. I can find it anywhere. I there's a website I love to go to, and you could check this one out too. It's called Real Good. And it is a site you can go to, and you could type in a movie, realgood.com, and say you want to see this movie. When the Mrs. Bucket from Keeping Up Appearances died recently, I thought, I want to watch some of those episodes. And I don't have the DVD box set of Keeping Up Appearances. It's good British comedy. And you go there and you find, okay, where can I watch it? It's only available on BritBox, but it's also available on the Roku channel, which you don't have to have a Roku device to be able to watch a Roku channel. you could go ahead and just watch it there. And they've got a guide you can go through, and you could find it there on that service. So it's a great way to find out where a movie that maybe you liked or a TV show you like is available to stream. And it might be on Netflix or it might be on HBO Max. But with the price going up, a lot of people are just saying this is ridiculous because they cut the cord and then they went internet only and they said, okay, we'll get HBO, we'll get Hulu, we'll get Peacock, we'll get Paramount Plus. That covers pretty much everything, right? Then they found out, no, it doesn't. So let's add Pluto TV. It's free. Or some of the other free services. But then with the added cost of all the subscription services, people are saying, this is outrageous. Like if you do an HBO Max standard, no ads, streaming on 2 devices, the same time, it's $184 a year. That's a lot of money for a lot of people. So, it all adds up.
It does. And we'll never go back to the way it was with over-the-air TV because it doesn't reach anybody anymore. And that nobody sits at home. Nobody's going home at 4:00 to watch Star Trek Voyager after they get off the school bus, like I did growing up, because I knew it was on at 4:00. But that structure doesn't work for the majority of society these days. There were always just really good shows re-airing at between 3 to 5 up until prime time, and then you hit your primetime stuff. And then on Friday nights, it was, Nick at Night. On Friday nights, it was Saturday morning cartoons. Like there was set times that the world knew you were watching TV, and they could cater. It's all about ads. It's all about money, right? It's all about ads. This is the entirety of this conversation is focused around how do we get eyeballs on money and ads. And when you have content that is available 24/7, 365, streaming anywhere in the world, it's just free money. And an ad-free service was so unrealistic. And based on the amount of content these places are pumping out, you're paying big bucks for studio content, not network content, not already invested money into an affiliate, NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, whatever. This is a brand new production facility that's got to do these very, very high level productions, and there's the expectation just kept getting higher and higher, right? You had these shows that when Netflix first came out, you had Stranger Things, you had Drive to Survive, you had all these other series that just lived on Netflix that you wanted to watch, and the expectation was it got better every time, and the expectation was I'm going to pay the same, but I want it to get better. You can't expect it to get better every time and have it available to you all the time without it costing more money.
I would rather, I don't know about you, but I would rather pay a decent price and have Netflix with programming. But now, if you get on to Netflix, you get lost in the guide itself. It's like, gosh, what do I want to watch? There's so many options because they're paying for that programming.
This is my opinion on how the internet is right now. Every company that's on the internet right wants to be the center of the internet. They want it to be, you come here to do everything. You come here to stream. You come here to play games. You come here to do social media. That's what everybody wants. Right? That's the focus of everybody's your eyeballs. And that's not how it was. Right? It's when you have that much marketing going into trying to keep everybody's attention on everything, and you have all these deals, and it's so confusing for a consumer to find anything. I mean, this Real Good website is great. I just looked it up. This looks fantastic. But it's frustrating because a lot of the apps will reach out and look at these other apps and see, it's streaming here, it's not on here, but you can watch it on Amazon. And then you're like, great, I can watch it on Amazon. And then you click on the link, rent or buy for $2.99 or $4.99.
Exactly.
Well, now I'm frustrated. So let me go find it somewhere else where it is. Well, it's only available here. Well, if I rent it now, I don't own it. But if I buy it in 6 months, what if they pull the license and now I don't own it anymore?
There was a Real Good documentary about Gordon Lightfoot that was done some years ago, and I wanted to watch it. It wasn't available anywhere except in Canada. And it was available in Canada for you to watch on I guess it's CBC or one of those. So, wouldn't let me watch it. Just turned on the VPN. Pointed at saying that it was a Canadian connection. You're not doing anything illegal. And I was able to watch it. And some people are finding out there's a website. There's another here. We're giving you some good websites today. And I don't know if you've heard about this one, Shawn, called TV.garden. If you go to TV.garden, it's pretty amazing because you can actually watch TV from around the world and it's free. So you can watch their broadcast channels, whether you want to watch something out of Britain, Italy, Spain, Greece.
This website's awesome.
It has a globe, and then it has, where do you want to watch? And like I had to look, because my family is got a background in Myanmar, Burma, and I thought, what are they watching over there? I wanted to take a look, and I clicked on it, and I'm like, whoa, look at this! This is a trip. This is what they're watching over there, like a news program out of there. You could see them from all the different countries' streams. Again, TV.garden.
This is insane. I was listening to you talk for a second, but I'm scrolling through. You can literally find anything on here.
One of the stories I heard, do you remember Hervé Villachet? I don't know if you know that name. Mm-hmm. There's a movie called My Dinner with Hervé that is really great. And if you ever get a chance to watch that, I'd say take a look at that. Hervé was Tattoo on the show Fantasy Island. And I read a story once about Hervé and how he learned to speak English because he was from France. He actually learned by watching television, watching American television. Now, back in the 70s, growing up, there was a lot of choices. Sesame Street. You could still watch Sesame Street. You could watch Sesame Street, I Love Lucy. You could watch shows in reruns. You could watch shows like Emergency, Adam 12, the whole bit. And you could pick that up. Now, I wonder if the same thing could be applied to TV.garden, where I want to learn to speak Spanish. So you go to Spain or you go to Mexico and you watch what is streaming out of there and maybe help you understand the language a little better. Could actually be a good educational source.
Sure. Yeah, you immerse yourself into that language and it'll help. I'm just blown away at this website. TV.garden. It's incredible what you can find.
There's a lot of good stuff on there. There's more stuff to talk about. I want to go over this one really quickly though. Do you remember we were talking about Driver Easy? I went ahead and bought it. And I've been able to put it on a system at work that was giving us some troubles. I put it on my main system here at home. I've got one license still to use. And it helps you find the drivers for your system that all at one time. But there's another one. And it's been around a while. It's been around a long time called WinGet. Have you ever used WinGet?
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
WinGet is a command line program. It's called Windows Package Manager is what it is. It's safe to use, generally safe. It's an official Microsoft tool. Now, to get to it, what you'd have to do is use your command key. So down in your bottom search bar, you could type CMD. That's one way to get to your command button. There's other ways. And then you'll see a pop-up, and one of those options is select Run as Administrator. And then you type in WinGet Update, and it will show you a list of programs that can be updated that you may have in your computer, like Adobe Acrobat, Dropbox, downloads that you may have you've not updated yet. WinGet will actually do those updates for you. So like Driver Easy, this actually focuses on the programs that are a part of your computer. And I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Again, it's WinGet, so you use the command key to get to it. And again, it's part of your Windows operating system.
I didn't know about that.
Yep, that's something.
But it's clever, and I have a bunch that are out of date.
Yeah, you can actually do WinGet.
I just did. It's Audacity's out of date. Driver Easy's out of date.
Wow.
My SteelSeries stuff's out of date. My Stream Deck's out of date. OBS Studio's out of date.
Oh boy.
Discord's out of date.
Don't do it while we're doing the show, please.
No, because it'll do a Windows reboot probably.
Right,
no, that's really cool. So it's like just for those like who are interested in Linux, like this is sudo apt-get will get you this, or sudo apt-update will get you the same thing, and update libraries based on that. So it's similar concept, which is pretty cool.
Making it easier for you. All right, we can take a quick break. We come back. A couple of listener questions we will share with you. Maybe it's yours. That's standing by. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeerd. Find us on the web at techtalkradio.com if you can get there.
Good luck.
Now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
This is Alice Cooper, the original Technotard, and you're listening to Tech Talk Radio.
So imagine it's 3 a.m.
All right.
and you're sleeping, and you have to get up and use the bathroom.
Right.
So you use an 8-sleep product, which is a bed that can move, can shift, can raise you up and down.
Oh yeah, those are kind of cool.
But they don't have an offline mode, and it always has to be connected to the cloud.
Wait, really?
And so at 3 a.m. when Amazon Web Services has an outage, your bed is now stuck.
You're kidding me. I had no idea.
The AWS outage impacted some of the users. Their 8 Sleeps $2,000 pod mattress covers found their smart beds had no offline mode and were stuck at high temperatures or odd positions during the night.
Oh, that's not good.
So you can only imagine, like, oh, I'm uncomfortable. Let me raise up my bed. Oh, it's stuck. Oh, it's really hot. Let me turn it down. It's stuck. Because it doesn't have an offline mode. Meaning it's always calling to the cloud for information.
Wow. So is it, okay, I know this sounds very, people will say, oh, you're just going down a different path there, but isn't that giving up a lot of your info, how you sleep, when you get out of bed?
Yeah.
I know our TVs relay a lot of information, like what you're watching at night, what commercials you skip over, the whole bit.
Yeah. There was a tech enthusiast that posted that said his pod locked itself 9 degrees higher than room temperature. Back-end outage means I'm sleeping in a sauna.
Oh, that's
8 Sleep confirmed there was no offline mode, but they were rolling out a fix. So,
and that's the thing. We constantly are looking at ways to connect, even our vehicles. You wonder though, what path are we going down?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I
talked a little bit about this at work with a coworker about how do I explain the internet to my children. Okay, because and you've experienced this too. I experienced it a little bit differently than even you did, right? Because growing up, the internet in my my preteens, the internet was very much not a thing. It was very hard to come by. It was only dial up. It was expensive. And so we just didn't have it. And then getting into grade school, we had basic internet connectivity, got introduced to, number munchers on the Macs and, games on, the 5 5.25-inch floppies and stuff like that. But then into junior and senior high school, slowly got into the internet, learning what search engines were and learning what chat rooms were and learning what, the shadier sides of the internet were as a teenager, and having to go to the library to get connected because the internet at home was not good enough, and spending that time figuring out what the internet was. Now, how do I explain that to Max when he can just sit at the computer and have everything available to him?
Yeah, you're right.
Right? If I gathered up a dozen of my friends from high school and said, do you remember that Strong Bad video from Homestar Runner? Everybody's going to know what that is. Do you remember playing Flash games on Albino Black Sheep or E-Bombs World?
Flash games.
Right?
Those were fun.
Or, playing Euchre on Yahoo Games or chatting on AOL Instant Messenger. It was a shared internet experience. Nobody has that now because it's so user customizable that it's become its own world. Everybody has a unique experience now, and I just feel like, to me, that's the nostalgia of the internet. For me is I knew what my friends were doing on the internet all the time. I knew that I could go into AOL Messenger and talk to my friends. There's a little bit of community building there. Now, communities are much larger now, and they're worldwide now. So it's like, it's just weird to see that transition. But how do I explain that to Max? How do I get him into the internet safely and curiously, but safely?
You know, I was just thinking about, you're talking about this, Shawn. You know, I remember, you know, when I learned to drive, the warning came out from my parents, never pick up hitchhikers. Now, I remember in the late 60s going to San Francisco with my parents in our station wagon, driving back, my dad pulling over to pick up a couple of hitchhikers that were in military uniforms. You would never, ever think about doing that today. Turned out they had just gotten back from Vietnam. And they were, you know, they were working their way to get back to Los Angeles. Luckily, we were going that way. And I learned some things. I don't remember. I was too young. But you wouldn't do that these days. And now that's become the internet danger, where you don't pick up, you know, strangers on the road. Now you don't communicate with strangers on the internet. That's the new danger zone, Shawn, to talk to the kids about. Don't do this, don't do that. And I think it's going to get even stronger. Now they're worried about telling the kids about AI and how to use AI and not to get in trouble in school and how to learn.
Yeah, it's weird to think that in 20 years, the internet has changed that much. 25 years since I've really been a user of the internet, and how much it's changed for my generation and then Max's generation. It's wild. And even through major world events like COVID, that changed how a lot of people viewed the internet. So you have kids that are graduating from high school for college that lived through COVID, and even their experience is different, and how they see the internet and how they approach it and how they approach classroom learning and stuff like that. It's so weird how mentally challenging the internet can be, and how, from a society perspective, how important it is, because it's literally the connectivity of the world right now, and two, how dangerous that is.
I wanted to get my grandson. I heard a study the other day about the internet and how numbers are coming down when it comes to mathematics, when it comes to writing, when it comes to reading. And I wanted to get him into reading, because that was what pulled me, you know, as a student. I love reading. I've always loved reading. So I wanted to find, like, and the thing is, you can't just give them a book and say, here, read. Now, many parents out there might be going, yeah, you can. They can't, because they're so distracted by technology that I want to find a way for technology to help with the reading. I don't know if that's possible. I believe it is.
Hooked on phonics. Like, that's technology, right? It's the CDs or the tapes that played and you read along with the books. That's technology, right? Everybody thinks that technology has to be a computer. It has to be the internet. Technology is the advancement of the human technology, not just internet and in electronics. Technology can be many forms. So it's like going back and using technology that isn't computer related can be a huge part of that.
Wow. All right. We got a listener comment. I definitely want to answer this from Anne. This was on our Facebook page, and it said, hey, Andy, I want to search the questions and discussions on the Tech Talk Radio site for advice about Windows 11 S mode, but I didn't see any way to search. And maybe that's something I need to start adding to the website. We're still working on changing our website over to maybe a more featured website. So hopefully that'll be coming soon. But Anne says, what am I missing? And then she added to that, because I responded about what Windows S was all about. She said, I recently purchased a new laptop with Windows 11, and I'm not thrilled about Microsoft basically forcing us to stay in S mode, where only Microsoft products can be installed. As you said, you can get out of S mode, but then you can't get back in, which gives a person pause. I have Malwarebytes virus software, which I like very much, but I can't install it without getting out of S mode. And the fact that I can't get back in again is intimidating. It scares a lot of people. Says, I like to use a Chrome browser sometimes which you can't do in S mode. You have to use the Edge browser. So if I understand what you said, though, being out of it is not that big a deal. It seems to me as if it's just a way for Microsoft to force people to use their products. Some people would benefit from S mode. That would be people who are afraid of installing the wrong thing.
I feel like these are the people that bought the Windows XP for Dummies books.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, it's Windows S mode. So for those of you who are listening that don't know what Windows S mode is, Windows S mode is basically a stripped down version of Windows that only lets you run Microsoft products.
That's it.
You only download from the Microsoft Store, and you get Edge. That's it. So it sandboxes you a little bit. You can still get out to the internet, but it's not going to let you install files. Maybe it's going to be good for a kid, but any kid that has any sort of technological curiosity is going to work around that in a heartbeat. Yeah, the 5, I just Googled it. Can't do that in S mode. Stronger security, faster performance, longer battery life, simpler management. Those are the things, right? But again, if you want to use Chrome or if you want to get customizable, you got to get out of S mode.
Third-party programs you may not be able to run if they're not in the Microsoft Store.
Yeah. Why might you not want S mode, right? You can't install apps outside of the Microsoft Store. No Chrome, Steam, Discord, Photoshop, anything. And it says once you get out of S mode, there's no way back. That is kind of scary, right?
I had bought a laptop for my daughter. And you'll find you'll find S mode generally on some of the lower price basic, entry-level laptops. And I had bought one for my daughter who's going to school in Phoenix, and it's grown up, but it had S mode on it. So when I reached out to her, I said, listen, I'm going to remove S mode on this because you don't need it. You know the basics, this, I can do this. When I told her you couldn't run Google on it, she was like, wait a minute, forget it, because that's what she had been used to. So again, S mode can be confusing and scary, but there may be a certain amount of you that may benefit from using S mode, but generally I don't.
I mean, maybe if you have elderly parents that just need to use the internet for their email and to watch Netflix or some streaming apps, great. No problem. It's going to stop them from downloading rogue programs.
Yeah. I miss the calls from my mom. My mom's no longer with us, but I miss those calls. What is this pop-up, Andrew? Do I need this program, Andrew? I just want to play my solitaire, Andrew. So yeah,
having a mom who was a little bit more technical savvy.
Yeah,
she solved a lot of her own problems, which is great. My dad, on the other hand, not so much. My in-laws are a little technical inept, but it's great. I get to help them. I helped them get a laptop. Went through all the OneDrive stuff where it forced you into logging in, and Windows is in a weird state, and it's, again, full circle with the ad stuff we were talking about earlier with the web streaming, with the video streaming. It's like, they just want your eyeballs, right? They want to put ads in these places. In my experience with computers and stuff, it's like going back to, started on Windows, Windows 95 and Windows 98 and Windows XP and Vista. And then once Windows 8 came along, that was really the first realization that they could put ads in the home screen.
Yeah.
So you click the start bar, and all of a sudden there's an ad for you might want to search for this based on your recent searches. It's like, whoa, hold on. What?
Yeah, exactly.
And then, they skipped 9 to 10. And 10 wasn't awful. You could customize your build when you installed it to say, feed me any of this garbage. And you could get a pretty stripped down version of Windows 10 with just the install, the base install. Not anymore. Well,
we got to take a break. We come back. Shawn, I told you about a problem I had. I fixed it. I got it fixed. So when we come back, I'll tell you what that problem was and how you may be having the same issue. Tell you how to fix that coming up with Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeerd. Find us on your favorite podcasting platform and give us a like, thumbs up, share it, YouTube, you name it. Get us out there. We love you guys.
Press that button.
And now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
So I had a problem, and I even had a comment from somebody saying, don't be so hard on yourself, because I thought I did the stupid thing. I have, and I've mentioned this before, a computer in our studio that originally was Windows 10. I had built a Windows 11 computer, seeing all this stuff was going to be happening. And I went to install Adobe, the suite that I have, that is phenomenal. I will say Adobe products are great. This Adobe Creative Suite 5.5 was phenomenal. Did everything I needed it to do. I do video. I do, After Effects. I do publishing. I do, audio editing. And I couldn't install it because it said I was installed to too many devices. Went through the rigmarole with Adobe. They said they couldn't do anything for me. Their activation servers are gone. So I had to preserve this computer, Windows 10. So I had to make the decision. Well, how am I going to upgrade it to Windows 11? So I started looking through it, looking at the computer. I made a clone of that drive, put that in the system. It booted up okay. And then I started going into BIOS saying, can I prepare this to update it to Windows 11? And something I did, that was it. It would not load anymore. Tried the backup drive. That would not load anymore. I thought, I've lost this ability to have that extra Adobe suite on it. Well, as you know, I've talked about Rufus and how Rufus has just been great. It's allowed many people that have not been ready to upgrade to Windows 11 yet to do an upgrade. And the only upgrade feature I could find was to update to Windows 11 on that computer, which I could do because I did it on another drive. I could do, but I would lose my programs. So I thought, well, how am I going to get around this? And I was reading about Rufus and I thought, well, look at this, an in-place upgrade. I could do that. Well, I tried an in-place upgrade on another computer that I had here at the station, and it worked. All the programs there, everything's working. Thought, I'm going to try that at home. And then I thought to myself, no, you're better off fixing Windows 10. So I found my LG backup DVD drive. I found my original disk that I had for Windows 10, and I hooked it up, booted up to the disk, and went into repair mode. And I thought, let's see if it can fix it. I mean, who knows? Didn't change anything with the settings that I had been messing with in the BIOS, the UEFI. And it took 2 times, but then I walked out of the room while it said repairing the computer. And when I walked back, probably about a half an hour later, there it was, Windows 10 with the Adobe Suite. I clicked on it to make sure it's not going to tell me I have to, reinstall and it was fine. So I was able to save that computer. So now I have to make the decision, Shawn. Do I use that computer as my recording source in the studio? Because it has Adobe. I'm using Audacity now and it works fine. But use the Adobe and have that computer in the studio. I have one in my office, one in my studio. The one in the office is already Windows 11. But now I'd have Windows 10 in the studio with the Adobe Suite, or take the chance to do an in-place upgrade to Windows 11, or just keep it Windows 10. Don't connect it to the internet. Just connect it to the network, using an IP number, and do it that way. What is going to be my solution? What do you think? What should I do?
Keep it Windows 10.
Yeah. And just
why risk it? It's not going to hurt anything. As long as you're running Windows Defender, and Malwarebytes,
yep,
and not doing something stupid,
yeah,
you're going to be just fine.
I only use it for recording and editing, and
you'll be just fine.
That's it. So
it's a fun fact, right? I looked this up earlier. I had read an article. So with the push to Windows 11, freaked a ton of people out around the world, right? A lot of people were like, oh my God, I got to upgrade. Somewhere around 65 million new computers were purchased or will be purchased. 65 million. One of these tech blogs I just read estimates that there's 400 million active Windows 10 machines.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah. 400
million. Think about that. That's 400 million processors. That's 400 million motherboards. 400 million hard drives. That's just a mind-blowing amount of stuff. And to think that 65 million of that's going to be brand new, what's going to happen to the 65 million that they replaced? E-waste. I'm seeing all sorts of articles coming out that people are going to recycling centers, computer recycling centers and hazardous waste, and finding machines with early Gen i9s, early Gen i7s with memory, because people will they just don't know. They go to the store, and of course, a good salesperson is going to be like, yeah, you got to go. You got to go to a Windows 11. You can't stay on 10. It's unsecure. And that's just the fear around that is, I'm skeptical about that. But that's how you get people to move forward. I mean, yeah, security compliance is going to be good and it's going to help, but I don't like the way that Microsoft's going about it. I don't think outside of this computer that I'm on now, I'll put Windows on another machine.
Yeah. You just keep it.
This will be my only Windows machine. I have a couple Macs that I work on, do editing on. I think I will move all of my other ancillary stuff. I already moved one of my laptops to Linux Mint, just to play with. I moved a Lenovo desktop that I had that was running games for Macs and stuff. I put that on Linux Mint. It's just because that was part of the moving to Windows 11 from the licenses that I had for Windows 10. Windows 11 Home doesn't have remote desktop. So I had to upgrade to Pro because I was doing the upgrade from remote desktop. I ran the upgrade for Windows 11, ran it rebooted, and then all of a sudden it's like you can't connect to remote desktop anymore. You didn't even have a keyboard, mouse, or monitor plugged into it because I was just using it as a play server just to put stuff on. So now all of a sudden I can't connect to it, and I'm like, what's going on? So I did some research. That kind of stuff is frustrating as a user, is having an expectation that an upgrade that I'm paying for will include the things I already have in this version. Like, I get it, some quality of life stuff may, I can lose a couple things down here that maybe I didn't care about, but they were features of Windows 10. But you can't have certain high-level features and then not make them available in the next upgrade without going to another price tier. That's just shady and frustrating as a user.
I think a lot of people have been really frustrated with Microsoft in that respect. And like you went to Linux on one of your boxes, and other people have said, well, I'll go Mac, and then they get into the learning curve, and it's not the same ball of wax if they've been used to using, Windows PC.
For sure. Yeah. If you have an iPhone and you're a PC user, it's going to be an easier transition to a Mac, right? Because the iOS functionality is very similar in terms of user experience that it is on a Mac. You're going to be familiar with icons. You're going to be familiar with some of that stuff. But if you're an Android user and a PC user and you're coming to a Mac, it's going to be night and day different. It's going to be trying to drive a standard transmission, right? You're going to stall it a couple times and you're going to, have to try to learn how to stop at a stop sign on a hill going up and try and get going again. So there's some learning curves, but it's not impossible. But
right.
I mean, Mac's doing some stuff the same kind of the way, they dropped Intel support. They're potentially dropping Rosetta going forward. So even older software that runs on Rosetta for Intel translation between Intel and the new M chips, that's rumored to be going away in a couple of next revisions. So it's just weird stuff that we're starting to get siloed again with technology, and you either have to be Mac or Windows, and there's no, you can't be agnostic anymore. Like you got to pick.
You got to pick which one. All right, here's something. Do you ever get on Nextdoor?
Yes, occasionally. So Caitlin has it for our neighborhood. I put it on my phone for like 2 minutes and then immediately regretted it.
Nextdoor is almost, and I see a lot of people commenting, it's like Facebook, but it is your Nextdoor. And there's a lot of people who use it like we used to use Facebook. But I've seen a couple of things on Nextdoor that I like, oh, that's cool. Somebody on Nextdoor was asking about Roomba vacuums. And there were some people there that were keen on sharing some of their experiences when it came to the Roomba vacuums. Somebody said the pros, the robot will love you and cherish you. The cons, it could turn against you. I don't know how a Roomba would turn against you. But this one I thought was pretty good. This guy has a name for his Roomba for doing the two parts of his home. He said the new Roombas, a guy named Michael who lives out in Picture Rocks, the new Roombas will map your space, then vacuum in perfect lines. It even empties itself, which is true, when it has finished its job. He said, we have two for different parts of our home. So he has two Roombas, and he gave them a name. These are their names. And if you're going to name your Roombas, you can't go wrong with this. Clean Latifah and Dustbin Bieber.
Boy.
Another quick break. We come back. A couple of websites you might want to check out for websites of the week. We'll be back with more of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeer. Check out our website at techtalkradio.com.
Be right back.
And now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
Shawn is still having fun looking at the TV Garden. TV.garden is the website. You found a couple of channels while we were doing the show.
Sorry, distracted. What was the question? No, so I'm literally scrolling through thousands of channels from around the world. This is just the U.S. I'm a big motorsports fan. So MAV TV is a channel that airs a lot of lower tier race circuits, a lot of supercross, a lot of motocross, supercars, Australian supercars. It's on here.
Oh, that's cool.
So I'm watching some really low production value supercross race right now that's on.
Fine for
that's the stuff that I like to watch when I just want to have someone in the background. So it's like, this is this is a website that people need to know about. Like this, it's TV.garden.
All right. Here's another one for you. Explore.org. All right. At explore.org. And if you remember a site that was very popular about 10 years ago, LiveCam, where you could watch live cams from all over the world.
I do not need another distraction like this, Andy. This is the type of website I will spend hours sitting on. Oh, no.
And Explore.org does it a little differently, too. You can look all over the world and find out cameras that are in different places, maybe your favorite town, and see what's going on down your boulevard. But also they schedule cameras. So if you want to see polar bears in the polar region, you can do that. If you want to see airport operations at a large airport, you can do that. And they'll schedule it. So tune in, at 10 a.m., on this date and watch it.
So this is something similar that Caitlin and I watch every year. It's the Katami National Park Fat Bear Contest.
Oh, yeah.
That's on here. It's on here. It's on.
Yeah.
That is one of our favorite things to watch because we track, we always try and pick our favorite and just track it and see. And then one of them died this year, so it was this big thing. Everybody was super sad about it. But they have webcams up in that national park that just live stream these fat bears eating salmon on the river. And this is the part of the internet that I love. Is the stuff like this, where you could somebody had an idea to go stick a webcam in the middle of nowhere with a satellite's phone or something and get a relatively low resolution webcam back, but you can see what it is.
Oh, yeah.
And you get to track fat bears while they're fattening up for hibernation.
All right, listen, we got to wrap the show, but two websites to check out, explore.org and tv.garden. Check those ones out. We'll be back next week with more info. And if you've got a question for the show, email it to us, techguys@techtalkradio.com. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeer. Again, subscribe to us on Spreaker, Spotify, your podcast platform of choice. We would really love for you guys to hear us and get us out there.
Yep.
YouTube, watch our YouTube shorts. Justin's really great at it. He's the popular face of our YouTube channel.
Have a great week.